everybody, and welcome to Enjoy English School. I am Shane.
I'm Betty.
Okay, Betty. So we're looking at an article called The Curious Fear of Holes.
Oh, yeah, that sounds very
spooky.
Right?
Wait, are you afraid of holes?
Not until, at first, I probably wasn't that aware of little holes, but people started talking about it, and I kind of started to feel a little bit uncomfortable when I see those pictures.
Okay, yeah, because seeing small holes might cause you big fear. So yeah, you're talking about little holes, not just
and a lot of them.
Not just a hole in the wall, but lots of little holes.
Usually in a picture.
Yeah, right. Okay, so the curious fear of holes. So if something is curious, it just means that it's strange and unusual.
Right.
If you have a curious case, it's a strange and unusual case. If you have a curious fear, it's just kind of a strange fear. Right?
And also, you can use curious in a different sense, right? We can say a curious boy. I'm curious about something.
I'm curious about small holes.
Yeah, that means you're eager to learn more about
small holes,
right?
I'm curious about this article. It's pretty interesting.
Right, and just before we begin, just want to remind every student out there, today's lesson will be done in English only. So stay with us. Don't give up.
The curious fear of holes. Do you feel uncomfortable when you see images of sunflowers or sponges? If so, you might have tryptophobia. It is an unusual fear of groups of small holes that up to 20% of people around the world may experience. When these people look at images that contain large numbers of small holes, they react in negative ways. Their heart rates might increase. They may also feel nauseous, sweaty, or itchy. In some cases, people can have serious panic attacks. Some people report that the feeling is almost the same as when someone scratches their nails down a blackboard. Scientists are not exactly sure what causes it. One theory suggests that humans evolved to fear these patterns of holes because they are often found on poisonous animals and foods. Based on this idea, tryptophobia is our brain's way of warning us of danger. Other experts believe tryptophobia doesn't serve any purpose. They argue that tryptophobia isn't caused by evolution. They think it started because people have been conditioned to fear these images after seeing them on the internet. Until more studies are carried out, the debate about whether tryptophobia is a fear people learn or are born with is likely to go on.
Okay, so let's get into the article.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel uncomfortable when you see images of sunflowers or sponges?
Do you?
No. I mean, just sunflowers and sponges? I mean, I use a sponge every day. I see sunflowers out in the wild,
What about when you look at them, very closely?
You mean really just
examining it?
Face in them. No. Well, I mean, since we are talking about a fear of holes, I mean, I do know what they're talking about. But I, in fact, have the exact opposite reaction.
So you like seeing
I like it, and it draws me in. And this is going to sound weird. This is weird.
Yeah, it is.
So no, it's going to get weirder here in a second. So don't anybody judge me. But sometimes my mouth will water when I see these kind of patterns. I don't know why. So I have the exact opposite reaction. I'm not scared, but I'm actually intrigued.
Oh, okay. That definitely is weirder than this than this phobia we're talking about. Yeah, I guess some people might find it fascinating because it has a certain pattern, right? And it's
to me, but it goes beyond that. It's like something deep down inside of me that I don't understand. Yeah. But you see images, right? So an image is just a picture or a photograph or something that represents somebody or something, right? So an image of a sunflower, that's a representation, most likely a photograph, but it could be a picture, something like that.
Yeah, for Taiwanese students, we have to pay attention to the pronunciation. I've heard a lot of times when students say image, it's image. It's a short vowel, image, not image. It can be confusing because, just when you look at how it's spelled.
Right, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, so it can be something that in an actual picture or how one thing is considered, is seen, is looked at by someone. So for example, company image. It's not really a picture. It's just how people look at your company.
Right. When they think of it, they will have an image in their mind of your company. Right. Okay. So continuing. So if you do feel uncomfortable, if so, you might have trypophobia.
Oh, a big word here.
Trypophobia, okay? So basically, we're looking at Greek here. When you see these weird words and, a lot of times you're like, why? But they come from somewhere. There's an etymology there that we can look into the word. So trypo just means a hole. And phobia, this is more common because we use it a lot, means a fear of something. Right. So here it just means a fear of holes, trypophobia.
And you can make it into an adjective. When you remove that A into, change the A into C, phobic. So we can also say, someone say trypophobic, someone say trypophobic. I think they're both acceptable.
Right.
Yeah, because it comes from Greek. So I guess, it has flexibility there. Right.
Okay, so people have lots of phobias too. So, some of them are a little bit more curious than others. So this is not maybe the most common phobia. Like we have common phobias like fear of heights.
Oh, right.
Right, what they call that acrophobia. So phobias are real things. And, are you afraid of heights? A lot of people are.
I don't, but I think I'm a little bit afraid of water.
Water, hydrophobia.
Right, hydrophobia. Hydrophobic. Because I can't swim. So
I see.
I'm afraid of drowning. Something like that.
Right. Continuing, it is an unusual fear of groups of small holes that up to 20% of people around the world may experience.
So it's quite common.
Yeah, that's really like 1 out of 5 people is going to have this phobia.
Right, because when you use
this fear.
Yeah, when you use up to, you're talking about how high a number is. So I guess it's saying, it's not as uncommon as we think. It's actually quite common. So do you have trypophobia?
No, I have the opposite, like trypophilia.
Right.
Right? Because philia means love. So I have the love of these little small holes. Something about it really
captivates you.
It really does captivate me.
Why?
Yeah, I really like it. All those pictures, because I don't know if you've seen some of these pictures, but people have very strong reaction to these like clusters of holes. And the ones that they think are the most disgusting and make them feel, those make me go, whoa.
Beautiful.
I have like the opposite reaction. So I'm weird. So, what can I say? Okay, why don't we take a short break and we'll get back into trypophobia. When these people look at images that contain large numbers of small holes, they react in negative ways. Right? So this 20% of people, they see these images of, a lot of small holes together. They will react in a negative way. So to react just means to change or behave in a way as the result of something else that's happened.
you're responding to something.
That's another way of saying it is to respond. Yeah.
Right. And react and respond, they actually take the same preposition. You react to something. And also the noun form of react would be reaction. It also takes the same preposition, reaction to something. Right. And you also see large numbers of small holes. I just want to talk a little bit about grammar, just a little bit here. When you say large numbers of something, you are talking about a countable noun. You never use a large number of something when you are talking about something you cannot count in English. For example, water, juice. So when you're using it, when you try to talk about things that are uncountable, you use a large amount of something, right? Yeah, it's often tested in your test. So make sure you pay attention to this one.
Pay attention to countable and uncountable. Yeah, they're really tricky.
Complicated.
Okay, so continuing, their heart rates might increase. So your heart rate is the speed at which your heart goes, right? So if you have a high heart rate, it will be like, maybe a slower heart rate. Something like that. So the rate is just how fast something goes.
Right. And if you are putting rate at the end of a sentence, because we talk about rate as a synonym of speed, right? So it takes the preposition of at an alarming rate. At speed, at rate. Yeah. So basically it talks about speed, and also it can be used to talk about frequency.
Frequency, right. And when your heart rate, it is also talking about a frequency, how frequently your heart is pumping, actually, right? And blood is being pumped through your body. Yeah.
Right. Sometimes we say success rate, like how likely something is to succeed, right? Success rate, failure rate. Yeah.
Okay, good. Right. They may also feel nauseous, sweaty, or itchy.
Right. That sounds pretty serious, isn't it?
Nauseous. Yeah.
Right. What does that mean when people feel nauseous?
Yeah, you feel nauseous means you want to throw up.
You want to vomit.
Feel sick to your stomach.
What about sweaty?
A little sweaty? Well, actually, I do have kind of sweaty hands to begin with.
Yeah, palm sweat.
The palm sweat, Yeah, they're pretty wet.
Right. So sweaty, the noun form is sweat. Sometimes you have palm sweat when you get very nervous in a test, perhaps. Right. That happens to me. And what about itchy?
Itchy. So to have an itch means something is, you feel like you need to scratch it because it's uncomfortable.
Right.
If it's uncomfortable, you need to scratch it. That's an itch. So you could say, if I have an itch on my arm, I could say my arm is itchy.
Right. And noun form is itch.
My nose is itchy.
Right.
So I'm going to itch it.
Right. So, some people, when they experience this kind of phobia, these are the symptoms they kind of have. They feel dizzy. They're having a lot of sweat. They feel, uncomfortable overall.
Wow. Okay. In some cases, people can have serious panic
that
attacks.
Sounds bad.
Wow. It's like a panic attack is when your heart rate goes very high. You feel very uncomfortable. And you can't breathe very well, and you really just, you panic, right? And it comes on quite suddenly, and it can be very scary.
And usually it doesn't have a specific cause, right? When people have panic attacks, there's no danger, no threats. You're just having that episode, right?
Yeah,
have you ever experienced?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I do kind of suffer from panic attacks, and mine do come from nowhere. Like in this case, we're talking about, there is something that's, we can point to that causes the panic attack. But I think panic attacks are even scarier when you're just doing nothing and suddenly you can't breathe and you start to panic. Oh, that's very scary.
Like how long does it take for you to recover from a panic?
Recover from it?
10 minutes?
Typically, something like that. Maybe 10 to 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
But depending on how serious it is. Yeah. Okay. Do you suffer from panic attacks? You sound
I don't think so. Probably when I was a little bit younger, when I get nervous about going up to the stage. But
okay. Stage fright. I think anybody would have a panic attack.
Not to the extent that I am having a panic attack. I think it's more serious.
Yeah. So that would be horrible if when you see this thing and you have such a phobia of it that it causes you to have a panic attack. Okay. Some people report that the feeling is almost the same as when somebody scratches their nails down a blackboard.
It's definitely uncomfortable.
Yeah, because it's kind of a very deep feeling. It almost goes into your gut, that type of reaction that you have. And it is that. Like, I have this same type of deep reaction for, the opposite of my trypophilia, my love of small holes, because it's a very deep feeling. But it's in a positive way, but it's very odd. Yeah, I also have this have you ever watched somebody pop pimples?
Videos.
They even have some TV shows where people do this thing or online. And when I see somebody pop a pimple, it's disgusting, right? But I love it. It makes me feel, I don't know, my mouth waters.
I watch those videos too.
They're interesting, right?
Right.
And do you get a kind of a weird feeling like
sensation?
You really
I don't know.
it? I do.
Right.
Anyway, so a blackboard. So scientists are not exactly sure what causes it. Okay, it's a mystery.
Right. It's pretty hard to put a finger on what's going on because some people like it, like Shane, but some people really hate it. So, what's the cause of it?
What's going on there,
Right.
Okay. So one theory suggests that humans evolved to fear these patterns of holes because they're often found on poisonous animals and foods. Okay, I mean, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
In evolution, you would probably want to stay away from a snake that had types of patterns because they often have quite intricate patterns, right? Or different animals have patterns on there. And, if you have a healthy fear of them, you will avoid them.
Right.
So it could just be left over.
I think many things can be explained from an evolutionary perspective, like anger or, human emotions. Anger is how people evolved to, argue for better treatments. So, I think this does make a lot of sense to me. Yeah. And I also think we need to look at this word, poisonous. It's also a little bit tricky to pronounce for students.
Poisonous.
Right.
Poisonous.
So the O in the middle, it can be voiced or voiceless. Somebody might say poisonous or somebody might say poisonous.
Right. That's true. There's different pronunciations.
And what about venomous and toxic?
Well, venom is something that's produced by an animal,
Right, especially snakes,
Yeah, when we think of venom, typically we're thinking of snakes, but I think spiders have venom as well, and different animals have venom. But it's just kind of something that comes from that animal, and it will then poison you. Basically.
I heard a very interesting theory. Somebody said if something is poisonous, that means you bite it, you die. If something is venomous, it bites you, you die. Right. And then there's another word, toxic. Usually we only use toxic to talk about chemicals, I guess.
Right. Typically, you're only talking about chemicals that might harm you or kill you, really.
Right.
Yeah. Depending on how toxic they are. So toxicity. So depending on the toxicity of something, that will determine what kind of an effect it will have on your body. But not good, right?
Definitely
you could see why you would have a fear response to these things because they're life-threatening.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, so based on this idea, trypophobia is our brain's way of warning us of danger.
Right. So it's telling you to stay away from danger.
So what's happening to me? It's not my body is telling me to go into danger.
But you survived, right? If that exists, that means you also have ancestors having this kind of feelings for little holes, and they survived, and you survived, right? That's how that works.
Maybe we were able to get those snakes, and they were a good food source.
Right.
So I was, I evolved to want to get those dangerous things.
Right. So it's hard to explain, right, if you're using this theory. What about exceptions like shame?
Yeah,
right.
Very interesting. Okay, why don't we take a quick break?
And we need to talk a little bit about warn before we take a break.
Oh, you want to talk about warning? Okay, yeah.
Right.
To warn somebody of something just means that you let them know that there is a negative thing is going to happen.
Right, and usually you use the preposition off, and then you add a now after that, off. If you want to use a verb, you use warn somebody against doing something. That means to stay away. Off and against.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back into this, let's continue. Other experts believe trypophobia doesn't serve any purpose.
Wow, so that's totally different from what we just read.
Pretty much the opposite. So I'm saying, okay, there's maybe an evolutionary reason why people are fearing these things because, there are deadly animals out there. And, for our survival, we are, kind of evolved to fear those things. Kind of makes sense, but some people say it doesn't serve any purpose.
Right. It's basically meaningless, right? It's what's suggesting here.
So they argue that trypophobia isn't caused by evolution. They think it started because people have been conditioned to fear these images after seeing them on the internet.
Yeah, that's also possible. Yeah.
Certainly possible. So what I think they're also saying here is this is a quite modern phenomenon, right? Like people seeing these things, like there's no case studies of people seeing like holes or like a beehive, the honeycomb, these kind of things and having any kind of a reaction. But on the other hand, well, we get exposed to a lot of things on the internet that we never had before, and people might be experiencing this, but it wasn't enough to make a big deal out of it. And when you get on the internet, you join communities. And once these communities form, you realize, hey, I'm not alone. So I don't know, I'm not really sure.
Or I think the internet's probably making things more serious because in the past you probably weren't aware of those little holes. You don't really look them so close up, right? But on the internet, they show images when,
And people are telling you, take a close look, right?
Or
you might not have done that before.
Right. So it's also very interesting in here. Yeah, there are possibilities.
Okay. And so to be conditioned, so they have been conditioned to fear these things. So if you say somebody is conditioned, it's kind of like to train somebody or something to behave in a particular way.
So
right?
you can say like, people around the world have been conditioned to watching Hollywood movies, right? You're used to watching that type of movies, that sort of narrative, the way of storytelling.
Right, yeah. So people are conditioned to things all the time, and the internet is, a big
source of that.
Source of conditioning, really, yeah. Okay, so continuing. Until more studies are carried out, the debate about whether trypophobia is a fear people learn or are born with is likely to go on.
Right, definitely. That's something people are going to keep talking about, debating over.
I mean, at least to me, there's something real going on.
Yeah, definitely. Because 20% of people are experiencing this type of phobia.
And I mean, like my own wife, she sees that things that really, we say it gives her the heebie-jeebies. So the heebie-jeebies are like, ooh, she gets the heebie-jeebies whenever she looks at these, these specific pictures. Oftentimes they're of people's skin conditions. And seeing like a pattern of maybe like just some skin condition they have, which creates little holes. And my wife is just completely afraid of just the image of it. It makes her feel really uncomfortable.
Right. So, I guess this must be something that scientists will want to look into in the future and see if there is a solution or at least an explanation, like a definite one, not the one that we have right now. We have two theories, right?
Two theories,
right.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure it's a real phenomenon, but it's not like it's nothing that serious.
Right, you don't have to go to a hospital. Most people don't need to go to a hospital for this one, right?
This type of a thing.
Oh, right.
Okay, well, that was a very interesting article. The curious fear of holes.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid.
Yeah, so we can't go on any further here. Go on means continue because we're running out of time today.
Right. Okay, that's all we have time for, and we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.